Boom! What's up, citizens of Gotham? You are watching the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. This UN report comes out every year, and it always says the same thing. More civilians killed by the US than the Taliban. This is the 19 report. This just came out, the first half of 19. The same, I checked, 18, 17. We've been in this crazy war. We got in October of 2001. We're coming up on 18 years. We're going into our 19th year of this war. I've said this before. Imagine if after, Pearl Harbor, America was still at war in Japan and Europe in 1959. 1959. If you're a millennial, we have been at war for over half of your life. At least. If you're like 30s, 38, 30, late 30s, we've been at war for half your life. If you're younger than that, if you're in your 20s, we've been at war since you were a child. There's some of you watching this show who were born after 9/11. We got to keep people on the troop, right? Obama said he was going to get us out of Iraq and Afghanistan, kept some troops there a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Trump ran on an anti-interventionist campaign. He was critical of Obama. In 2013, there's all these tweets showing him saying, why are you in Afghanistan? What are you doing? He gets into office. The war machine says, hey, you better play ball. That's great for the campaign trail there, Donnie. But now it's more war. He ups the troop count in Afghanistan. Shocker. Afghanistan is a place I've been to on 3 occasions doing stand-up comedy. 04, 06, and 07. I don't know what it's like to be in the military. I am not claiming to be a vet or anything. I've just seen more than most civilians have. I made a film about it called Afghanistan. It's available on grahamelwood.com, and you can see I'm in a helicopter. I'm getting shot. We get shot at. We come under fire. I see wounded people. And we're still there. All this money. After all this time, can you imagine if we were still in Japan and it was just a bombed out hellhole? No, we helped rebuild Japan. They're one of our allies. They're an economic power. They're like what? We could have done that to Afghanistan, right? We could be going, Afghanistan's amazing now. Women have all these rights. Is it safe? No, we got to keep the war machine going. At least 3,812 civilians have been killed or wounded in the first half of 2019, the United Nations said, noting a big increase in the number of casualties caused by government and NATO-led troops. The United Nations report says 83% of casualties were from airstrikes attributed to international military forces. There's only one country that does airstrikes, one coalition country that does airstrikes in Afghanistan. Do you want to take a guess? The United States military, the only member of the international coalition in Afghanistan that carries out airstrikes. The Afghan Air Force was responsible for about 10%. It's never-ending war. This is never-ending war. That's what this is all about, because it's good for money. Never-ending war. Never-ending war. And Afghanistan didn't rig the Democratic primary. Afghanistan didn't steal my and 5.2 million other Americans' homes. Afghanistan didn't poison the water in Flint, Michigan. It didn't do that. It didn't build the Dakota Access Pipeline. Afghanistan hasn't been doing all of these shootings we've been seeing in America. White U.S. citizen, white male American citizens are shooting up everybody. Why are we there? How much money have we spent? How are we going to pay for Medicare for all? I don't know. Not being in a ridiculous war for 18 years? I don't know. We spent $5 trillion in Afghanistan? I don't know. In the first 6 months of the year, the conflict killed nearly 1,400 civilians and wounded about 2,400 more. Afghan forces and their allies caused 52% of the civilian deaths, compared with 39% attributed to the militants. We're killing more civilians than the Taliban. So why are we there fighting them? If we left, would life for the Afghanis get worse or would it get better? Now, some conservatives are going to watch this and say, oh, Graham loves the Taliban. No, I don't. They're awful and evil. But let's back up just a hair and get into the history of them, right? So when Zbigniew Brzezinski was stacking up troops and pushing, getting ready, hoping the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. And I'm not saying what the Soviet Union did was good, but we do what we do. We push and hope for a war, right? Oh, and we got one. Soviet Union went into Afghanistan. That was awful. And we backed the Mujahideen against the Soviets. We armed them, and then we just left. When the Soviets left, we just bailed. We didn't rebuild the country. And there was a high rate of illiteracy in Afghanistan, heavily armed and illiterate. Oh, weird. And then out of that, slowly the Taliban was formed. 18 years. Do you think we would have contaminated water? What if we spent all that money on actual gun regulation here and stopped all the domestic terrorists here? You know, the ones that just shot up Dayton, Ohio, and Gilroy, California, and El Paso, Texas, those? I'm sure there's all the other cities I've forgotten. But I'm sure the people in Afghanistan, you know, yeah, Trump's awful. When I hear the left go, oh, Trump, they're so bad in these debates. We got to stop Trump. Do you think the civilians that died when Obama bombed them, they went, yay, it's the first black president, boom, and they got blown up? And hopefully we'll get bombed by Liz Warren's green military. Then things will be better. When Liz Warren bombs us with green bombs that have leaves painted on them and they say they're eco bombs and they're powered by biodiesel, then I'm sure the Afghanis will be like, oh, thank God. The Trump's bombs were so much worse than Obama's bombs. The United States has bombed and or invaded Iraq, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Iran, Cuba, Panama, Pakistan, Nicaragua, Grenada, Vietnam, Laos, Guatemala, and Cambodia, to name just a few of the examples we are aware of. Here's the New York Times spin on this story. Afghan and U.S. forces blamed for killing more civilians this year than the Taliban. Blamed. This is the original, this is the title. U.S. killed more civilians in Afghanistan than the Taliban, shocking UN report. This is what the report said, and this is the title. Blamed. Oh, just like a good defense attorney, a good defense that's defending a filthy serial killer criminal, some awful person. Well, maybe this is what Dershowitz would say. Alan Dershowitz, who is if not a pedophile, definitely defends them, and he defends awful people. More is going to be revealed about him and Epstein, but blamed. A little bit of doubt. So the New York Times article says all the same stats that the other article did, but they add this because they want to be fair and balanced. Colonel Sonny Leggett, a spokesman for the United States military, rejected the methods and findings of the United Nations report. And the New York Times doesn't say, well, this is, here, sorry, Colonel, here are the actual facts. They just, well, there's two sides. Like they would report on climate change, and they go, well, climate change, it sounds like it's here, but let's bring in a climate change denier, some guy with a $100,000 check from ExxonMobil in his pocket going, well, I don't know, some of the science is a little wonky. $1 trillion we have spent. This is from 2017. $1 trillion. That number, I don't know what the 18 number is yet, but this is what I found. Look at this. The height of it. Yeah. These are all the Obama years. Here. This chunk in here is Obama. Most of his years spent more than Bush. But his tweets were very presidential. You know, he was cool and fun. Bush was awful, right? But now Bush is buddies with Obama's wife, and everyone loves... Thank you for watching the show, everybody. You're making Gotham great again. Like, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button. I do a live stream every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific and sometimes during the week. And I will cover all of the debates, post-debate coverage. Go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. That link is below, ROKFIN. It's a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. You get bonus content. And GrahamElwood.com for all of my tour dates. Check us out on the road. Thanks for watching.